Welcome to this video. My name is Mark Scythian. The date today is September 14, 2024. So this video is going to focus on blood pressure regulation, physical and psychological methods thereof. So we start with the sodium chloride molecule. So when we combine this molecule with water, we then positively charge electrolytes through water. And so this is a forward electrical conducting mode. And when ingested and absorbed into the body, this will trigger the actin gates across the muscle nervous system interfaces, or the stria, and the muscle contraction, including in the heart, will then increase the blood pressure. However, the opposite, the negative flow electrolyte, salt, potassium chloride, KCl plus water, then triggers the myosin gates and has the exact opposite effect, and that's muscle relaxation, including the heart. So potassium chloride will decrease blood pressure. So both of these are alkaline earth metal salts. And so if we have a ratio of 3 sodium chloride molecules per 1 potassium chloride molecule plus water, this will electrochemically stabilize blood pressure. So you'll see a lot of foods where there may be like 15 or 1600 milligrams of sodium chloride, but something like about 600 milligrams of potassium chloride added. That is to stabilize the electrolytes. So the actual requirement of sodium per day is actually tied as 5,000 milligrams, because it is all electrolytic requirements to stabilize the blood pressure and the heart rhythms. And so if there's too low a salt intake, then the kidneys are going to create enzymes, which then start to constrict and bind blood vessels. And so the debate between 3 and 5, 1. So pretty much if you go with sea salt, you're going to also get the other 2 electrolytes, the magnesium chloride and the calcium chloride. Your bones are piezoelectric devices. In other words, when you put pressure on them, they release electrons or electricity. And so you have between 22 and 60% calcium chloride composition in the bone. So it's really good to go with sea salt, because you get these 2 electrolytes as well as calcium chloride and magnesium chloride. So it has to do with the periodic table of elements. When you go down the alkaline earth metals column number 2A, you then have a natural bonding in nature of these alkaline earth metal salts with chloride, because chloride is so electronegative. And so these are going to be found in nature as is, and sea salt is the best way to go, because you have many other trace elements that are going to supersede what supplements can do. But not all salts are created equal. So if you just go with table salt and you have synthetic iodine and just one electrolyte, then you're kind of not getting the entire electrolyte balance. So sea salt is going to have all the electrolytes. And so if we have this equation balanced out just naturally with food, it'll inherently stabilize the positive negative ionic exchange in the bloodstream and in the cells of the body, and this will stabilize your blood pressure. So it's always said that you could put quite a lot of sea salt on your food and not have the high blood pressure. And so the stabilization of electrolytes is why that is so. And so again, it depends on the individual. If whatever you're doing works for you, then do that. But I'm just saying, here's another option. And so we have the electrochemical relationship with the nervous system and interfacing in the muscle stria. And this is where we get the actin and myosin gate. So then we have another hack, which is sea salt plus bananas. Bananas are very loaded with bioavailable potassium chloride. So sea salt and bananas plus purified water. Physical activity, not just to keep the metabolic activity good, but also to move the lymphatic fluid around, as it does not have a pump or a displacement mechanism like the blood does. And so this aids in having a stabilization of electrolytes, waste removal, and natural blood pressure regulation. So that's the physical method. And then the other half of health is the psychology. So that includes stress management, discipline, resilience, and then also this contributes to stabilization of blood pressure. So there is a method to carry things out. Sometimes you have to work extremely slow. Sometimes you can work fast, but it is like perhaps pouring water down the drain. Sometimes some drains are large, some are small, and so there's no one size fits all. Sometimes you just have to focus and see things for what they are and just ignore everything around you and do it your way, and then your stress levels drop. And so this then becomes a discipline and then a resilience, and so you find yourself in a flow state. So this was also going to, on the energetic level, stabilize blood pressure. And so we have periodic table elements, the alkali earth metals. So if you grab a periodic table element to go down and find where Na, sodium, is, we can see that it has a natural proclivity to bond to the extremely electronegative chloride. So when they say sodium and potassium, they're talking about sodium chloride, potassium chloride, magnesium chloride, which, you could just use sea salt, or cayenne pepper has a lot of magnesium. And if you need iodine, you get raw garlic bulbs to do that. And then there's calcium chloride in the sea salt. And then McDonald's, I don't know if they still do it, but they use the calcium chloride salt. And the theory behind that is it strengthens the bones, which it does. So that should be an A there, little righto. So I'll fix that. That should be CaCl2. CaCl2, because we have an ion there. We need to stabilize that with two chlorines, and then NaCl and KCl, because they're on the balanced covalent state versus these are ions. So again, if we go NaCl2, that's halite, and that is another covalent salt, but it's a little bit on the corrosive end. In other words, it will want to bring too much alkalinity and increase the pH too much, but we'll see that with road salt, halite, etc. So again, just like protecting iron with rust inhibitors, when you introduce oxygen to iron, they want to stick to each other. So that's why we have iron in our bloodstream, so we can attract the oxygen in there. And so it goes from heme then to hemoglobin when we have the right iron. But just living is going to create an electron loss. And so if we were out in the non-biology world and you're dealing with an iron-based structure, like iron plus carbon is steel, you may elect to use rust inhibiting. And so that's the same thing as antioxidants in the human body. So there's a lot of sources of antioxidants, but when we introduce salts and the balance of salts along with antioxidants, then the natural processes of losing excessive electrons, like rusting your iron, that's going to be like premature aging and cell damage, is similar to the inorganic rust inhibiting. So if you find foods with a lot of antioxidants, you're just going to slow down your aging, and then you combine it with the right electrolytes and purified water, and then you have really good blood pressure. And so all this interconnects. And so then we have the sticky blood. Okay, that's the last part I wanted to make. And you might have noticed I'm kind of repetitive about what really accelerates blood clots in the body, and it is dehydration. But if you're dehydrated and you have abundant high fructose syrup or the synthetic sugars found in soft drinks, then it's a high likelihood that the blood cells will stick to each other and then become sticky blood. And so the fats and the cholesterols can heal the body, but when they're completely saturated with high fructose syrup from soft drinks, then they clump together and make the blood very sticky, especially when it's dehydrated. And this increases the likelihood of blood clots. So blood clots don't just suddenly appear. You need to work on them and make them happen and create your own illness. So whenever possible, avoid soft drinks and instead just replace that with purified water instead of soft drinks. So now you dropped your risk of blood clots and strokes and heart attacks and high blood pressure and all these things. So again, if you're not sure the water will get you out of dodge, because it'll break everything down, and then your body has the ability to remove what would make you very sick or kill you or shorten your lifespan or lead to chronic illness. But again, if you keep doing it and doing this dehydration and high fructose syrup and all sorts of electrolyte balance, you do it too long, and then you may have permanent organ damage, and that's when it's kind of a downhill, pretty disastrous life after that. But you can avoid all this naturally if you understand a few basic physical chemistry principles. So this will also tie into psychology as well, because 50% of health is physical and the other 50% is psychological. When you get stressed out, your cortisol levels increase, and then your immune function doesn't really work that well. And again, a lot of the immune system is in the GI tract, which is a water-based system to remove the waste. But if people aren't doing basic things like properly hydrating, then they're setting themselves up for a lot of health problems, which are completely preventable, and they cost almost nothing. So just wanted to put this next video out about the whole thing about blood pressure regulation, and a lot of it has to do with electrolyte balance and hydration. So thank you for watching this video, and have a great day.